All right, so there is some nuance behind this title. I'm not saying that every single RAF card is better than every UFC card. I'm definitely not talking about the numbered events, even though we have had some shitty ones recently in the last year or so. We've had 312, very boring, outside the main event. And then we've had 318, is Dustin Poirier's retirement. That was a decent card, but the undercard prelims weren't that great. 330, most recently, that one was very fucking boring outside the main event, co-main. There were no ranked opponents outside the main event and co-main, so I'm obviously not talking about every single UFC card. I'm not talking about the pay-per-views, numbered events in general. I'm just talking about the fight nights. Now, for reference, if you look at this week's fight night, we have three, maybe four ranked fighters. If you include RDR, who is ranked at middleweight, you've got four ranked fighters on this entire card. Now, obviously, you also got Shamil Ghazi of some meme name value. But obviously, this is a fight night. I'm not expecting to be stacked with ranked fighters. That being said, it's my entire point with this is that on any given night where there's a fight night, there's a decent chance that if there is an RAF card playing, it's probably going to be better. I mean, the RAF card, just a quick run through. I'm going to go into it in depth, but you've got merabdvalishvili, possibly the bantamweight GOAT, right? 50-45, Peter Yan beat Sean O'Malley twice, once by submission. Sandhagen destroyed him, said the takedown. He broke the record for most takedowns landed in a single career in that fight. Came in second for most takedowns landed in a single fight. Beat Umar as well. Henrycejudo, an Olympic gold medalist, a UFC double champion. Let's see. Jordan Burroughs, one of the most decorated wrestlers of all time, Olympic gold medalist. He was a 2 or 4-time NCAA Division I champion. Seanbrady, the former number 1 ranked welterweight in the world, now number 6, I believe, 5 or 6. He's fighting Gabriel Bonfim. One of them's ranked 5, one's ranked 6. I forget who's who. Bonickal, needs no introduction. Tyron Woodley, former welterweight champion. Joaquin Buckley, number 10 in the welterweight division right now. Let's see. These guys are all wrestlers. Now, as far as RAF goes, I'm a casual. I just got into it this year. I went to 2 events. I absolutely love them. Trying to get into it, so I don't know all of these guys' entire career histories. I do want to learn them over time, though, but let's see what else we got. Kennedyblades, I know she's an Olympic silver medalist. She left the state, Iowa State at her, either as a junior or a sophomore to go pro, and then she won the Olympic silver medal. Asumabayev, I think he's the number 6 ranked flyweight in the world. So my entire point with this is that on any given, Gable Steveson, I mean, his wrestling background needs no introduction. He is possibly going to become a heavyweight champion in the UFC one day. Like, my entire point with this is that, obviously I'm not talking about numbered events, but these fight night cards that the UFC puts out, I mean, the RAF cards are honestly better. Not every single time, but there have been plenty of times this year where I looked at both cards, and I'm like, damn, the RAF card is better. Granted, a lot of them have had, like, Armantsarukyan, Colbycovington, Khamzatchimaev, etc. This one has none of them, and it's easily like an 8 out of 10. Like, if you were to take this RAF card and throw Arman on it, throw Colby on it, throw Hamzat on it, that would be a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. If not, 2 or all 3 of those guys, like, that would be a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. So that's my entire point with this is that these RAF cards are really starting to compete with the UFC fight nights. Now, before I get into this and break it down, if you're still here, give the video a like. It goes a long way. I would really appreciate that. But let's get into it a little bit. So we've got merabdvalishvili, possibly the bantamweight GOAT if he beats Peter Yan in the rematch. Henrycejudo, UFC double champ, an Olympic gold medalist. They're going at it in their second RAF match. This will be their 3rd time competing. They've competed once in the UFC. I almost said Arman. Merab beat Henry by unanimous decision. And then most recently, they wrestled in Georgia under the RAF banner. Cejudo was up 9-0 going into the third period. Merab came back and beat him, in his home country. So now this is their revenge match in RAF. If Henry wins this, which he very well could, because like I said, he was up 9-0 going into the third period of their last match. He can not even the score, but he can get the score closer to that. He'll be 2-1, or Merab will be up 2-1, but Henry will have some points on the board. So there's a lot of interest behind this matchup, in my opinion. I am curious to see how it goes because it really could go either way. And then maybe it'll play into the trash talk of Peter Yan and Merab leading into their fight. Jordan Burroughs, like I said, one of the most decorated wrestlers of all time, taking on Seanbrady, who he is one of the best grapplers in the UFC. Now, despite being older, I do have to give it to Jordan Burroughs. Like I said, he's an Olympic gold medalist. He's either a two-time or four-time NCAA Division I champion. I forget off the top of my head. Like I said, I'm not like a. I just got into the freestyle wrestling this year, so I don't know everybody's accolades by heart just yet. But Sean Brady, like I said, he's one of my favorite wrestlers, or not wrestlers, sorry, one of my favorite UFC fighters, ranked welterweight. That being said, Jordan Burroughs is probably going to dog him. That's just the way this is going to go. Now, bonickal just became ranked at middleweight after his win over Kyle Dawkins at Freedom 250. A lot of hype behind him. He is an industry plant, though. I'm not going to lie to you. The guy's fought on UFC 300. He's fought on UFC 311's main card. He's fought at Freedom 250. Like, he's fought on. He has not fought a single ranked fighter in the UFC, I don't think. And I'm sorry, no, he did fight RDR. So he's fought, I think, one ranked fighter in the UFC. And this guy was on like 5 main cards. One was Freedom 250. I think he was on the 300 main card as well. Like, Bo Nickal's very clearly an industry plant. That being said, he's taking on Max McAnally. Now, Max, I looked him up a little bit earlier, a couple days ago. I forgot exactly what his accolades are, but seems like people are really leaning towards him heavily. Now, like I said, I don't know. I don't remember exactly what his accolades are, but this one should be interesting. I do watch Bo whenever I can. I tried to see him live against Yoel Romero, but Yoel was overweight, so Bo pulled out of that, which really fucking sucks. Bo, I understand pulling out because your opponent didn't make weight, but I also understand the argument that, bro, it's just wrestling, it's not fighting, it's not a big deal. Especially if you're a UFC fighter. Like, this is like kind of like your, not your backup, but it's not your main gig. So I understand that what do you call it? That sentiment as well. So Tyron Woodley versus Joaquin Buckley. I mean, Buckley, we all know, can't fucking wrestle. You watch his fight with Kamaru Usman. You watch his most recent fight with Sean Brady. Like, you put him against any grappler, and that's it for him. Tyron Woodley, former welterweight champion. Now, Tyron is at a huge age disadvantage. He's 12 years older, 44 years old. I mean, well past the age where things start to slow down. Like, in fighting, that's got to be, what, 36, 37? That's when you start to begin to think about retirement. Not necessarily saying you retire right away. You've obviously got guys like Jan Blachowicz, 43, still in the game. And then you have guys like Dustin Poirier, who's like 35, and he just retired last year. So, maybe Poirier's a little older. Maybe he's like 36. I don't think he's 37. I think Oliveira's 37, though. But obviously, different body types, different legacies. There's different reasons, but we'll see how this goes. Like I said, Woodley is way older, but Buckley, the dude can't grapple. Like, that's been shown time and time again. Obviously, we're talking about guys that are at the top of the top in welterweight. Kamaru Usman, former champion, one of the best welterweight champions of all time in his prime. Sean Brady is one of the best grapplers, one of the most underrated in the UFC at the moment. So I don't want to make it seem like Buckley's getting beat by anybody off the street, but in terms of other professional athletes, his grappling's not great. Evan Wick versus Jason Nolf, Vladimir Kennedyblades versus Jesse Mendez. I have seen Kennedyblades once live. I think he wrestled. It was either Bo Bassett or Johnny DeJulius. I forget which one off the top of my head. He did get the win, I believe. Evan Wick versus Jason Nolf. I think I've seen Wick once. I think I saw him at RAF 05. I really wish you could click on the guys here, like UFC, and then go actually to their profiles. That'd be a nice page setting. So I can't really look into them at the moment without opening a new tab. David Carr versus Sal Kazanov. Don't know a whole lot about these guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. Kennedyblades versus Diana Avsaragova. Kennedyblades, like I said, she is an Olympic silver medalist. She left the state of Iowa after her second year, so maybe it was in the middle of her junior year, maybe it was the summer before it started, who knows. She is undefeated in RAF. I believe she's 3-0. This will be her 4th match. She is holding the belt in middleweight. She's going against Diana Avsaragova, who is a 6-2, I believe, 6-2 Russian WMMA fighter. Now, I was looking at her record a little bit. Most of her wins, I believe, were by decision and knockout. I think she had 1 or 2 subs. Diana, she's lost her last 2. She's got the age disadvantage. 28's not terrible, but Kennedy's obviously only getting closer and closer to her prime. You got to give it to Kennedy. I think she's going to take this one probably with ease. Johnny DeJulius, now I've seen him wrestle once for sure. Or no, I think twice now. Yeah, I think I've seen him wrestle twice now. He's 1-2-0 or 1-2-1. He either has yeah, I think he's either 1-2 or 1-2-1. He's taking on also Almabayev, who's a number 6 ranked flyweight in the world, I believe. Now, Almabayev is coming off of that crazy win over Charles Johnson. We put him in the Suluev stretch. Johnny DeJulius, he does have a negative record in RAF, but he does go against some crazy guys. Like I think he did face Kennedyblades. I don't remember his record off the top of my head, but he does have a decent record from what I remember. Now, Almabayev, I'm not sure. I mean, he is one of the best grapplers in flyweight. Not 100% sure how that'll translate to freestyle, but we'll see. I'm leaning towards him, but I'm not gonna say that I'm predicting him. I mean, Johnny, he's in his element. He's an actual wrestler versus Almabayev as an MMA fighter. We have seen MMA guys struggle when they translate to, freestyle. Other ones thrive. I mean, you look at Khamzat. He had the fastest pin in RAF history against Dylan Dennis, who granted he's not a wrestler. Let's see, Armantsarukyan, he's dominated in RAF. Granted, Arman, he's one of my favorite UFC fighters, so I'm not trying to bash him, but he has faced some past their prime guys, Tony Ferguson, Uriah Faber, etc. But I am leaning towards Almabayev to get this dub. And then next up, Magomed Khabib. Yes, that's this guy's real fucking first name, Magomed Khabib. Magomed Khabib Kadiq versus Will Lewin. Now, Kadiq, I've seen him wrestle once at RAF 5. He got beat 10-7 against the current champion, Kyle Dake. He also lost his most recent match, 13-2. He got tech-falled. He lost pretty badly. He's on a two-match losing streak. His record is 1-2 in RAF. He's taking on Will Lewin, who I don't know a whole lot about. So we'll see how this one goes. And then finally, Gable Steveson versus Anthony Cassiope. Now, Gable, obviously, he needs no introduction. Could very well become the UFC heavyweight champion one day. Taking on Anthony Cassiope, who... This dude is a 2-time Illinois State high school champion, all right? He had a perfect record of 11-0, and in his senior year, he had nobody score any offensive points against him. He had 52 wins in his school. He set the record for most wins in his school history. This guy's fucking crazy. I believe that he is a coach at Iowa State now. I don't know exactly what his collegiate record is, but this one, I'm actually heavyweight. I don't know how much Anthony Cassiope weighs. He doesn't look like he weighs nearly as much as Gable, but this guy's got a crazy resume, a lot of accolades, so this could be a very interesting match, especially if it's the first one of the night. I'm surprised they would do this so early, maybe just to pack the seats, but either way, this card looks decent. I honestly think it's more entertaining than the UFC Fight Night card. Now, I don't want to keep shitting on the Fight Night cards because we have had some great ones, like the Protest versus JDM fight was great. The Macau card earlier was decent. What else? The Abu Dhabi card, even though we didn't get the main event we wanted of Khalil Roundtree and Magomed Ankalaev, it was still a decent card. So let me know what you guys think. If any of these RAF cards have been better than any Fight Night cards, let me know who you guys think will win either of these fights or the wrestling matches. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.